Hello, my name is Rick Gutierrez. I'm pastor of Anthem Church, and I'm joined by Mark Howard here, pastor at Kennebec Baptist Church. We're part of Angier Hope. We are here to show people the way to a life with a brighter tomorrow. And today we're going to talk about something that is very important that a lot of us who are parents struggle with, and that is time management. What does it look like for parents to exercise time management? Because we know that life is hectic. The days get away from us. The weeks get away from us. Next thing you know, it is pure calamity, foolishness, mayhem, and all the sorts. And we believe that having some good time management skills and incorporating that into a family dynamic could be extremely helpful as parents and bringing some peace in the home and setting some direction. So I'm going to throw the question to you, Mark. What insight would you give to a parent? Why is it important for parents to really think about time management as a tool in their parenting?
Well, thanks, Rick. Honestly, I think the first thought that came to my mind is remembering my son's 9th birthday. I have 3 kids, a son, a daughter, and a son. But when my oldest kid turned 9, I realized that I had 9 years left. And I started to really take a notice of the fact that half of the time that this kid is going to be inside of my home has already expired. And I looked back and I started to look at the time I had spent, how I'd spent it. And then I began to think, well, now how do I want to spend the next 9 years? And I began to really think about my parenting and how finite that amount of time is as a parent. So I guess the most important advice I would give parents is that the time you spend as a parent, the time you spend with your children is time, first of all, you never get back.
Yeah.
And it's a very finite amount of time. And it's a very precious amount of time. And one of the things in my life that I will not regret, I never regret spending time with my kids.
Yeah.
You know, I one of my life philosophies is to live my life with as few regrets as possible. And one of the things that I did early on in parenting, listening to the advice of others, was I realized how important it was as a father to be in my kid's life, to be a part of my kid's life. And I think that also sort of is replicated in the Word of God, where God desires our time. He wants a relationship with us. And in the very same way, we reflect that on our children.
Yes.
To be there for our children, because kids spell love time. T-I-M-E is the way they spell it.
No doubt. And yeah, absolutely. And I think that's right. And what an important thing you just said. Because a lot of us will remember that moment we brought that kid home, this little itty bitty bundle, right? And it does seem like they're going to be there forever. And next thing you know, they're 5 or 10 or 15. And it goes by fast.
Yeah.
And if you're not really strategizing and being particularly thoughtful in how you're using your time, it can get away from you. And then did you really do all that you could have done to prepare them for those adult years when it gets really tough and challenging? It says in Proverbs chapter 13 verse 4, it says that the soul of the diligent is made fat. So there's a principle in that verse. The soul of the diligent is made fat. The diligent, the conscientious, the one who's practicing self-control, thoughtful, planning things out. It's those that are laboring very intentionally with a very specific goal who will see success, see fruit in their life, see a degree of like goodness and prosperity. Like if I want to see my kid grow into like a strong man, a good woman, like I have to be diligent toward that, which means I got to be really careful and thoughtful about Monday and Monday night and Tuesday morning and Saturday and what are we going to do this summer? Like being really critical into like what we're doing and not just let it kind of sort of just happen.
Right. And I agree with the idea of having a goal. I told my wife when we first had kids, I says, my goal is to raise a decent human being that loves Jesus. and ultimately, when my kids were little and began to explore, what am I going to do when I grow up? And I said, I don't really care what you do, as long as you love the Lord. Mm-hmm. I said, if you're a garbage man that loves Jesus, I will be a success as a parent.
Yeah,
and so my goal was always to raise 3 decent human beings in a world where that's not always the goal of parents. Yeah. And I think that as a parent, the greatest goal you can have is to raise a decent human being.
Yes.
And so that was my goal.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds funny to say a decent. We have to qualify it that way because eventually we will raise something. But we want them to be quality, mature, responsible, dare I say, disciplined, a man and woman of integrity.
Absolutely.
Who's honorable.
Right.
Well, that doesn't happen by accident, right? Like, because it's our human nature, the Bible referred to it as our sin nature, tends toward the opposite, toward the dishonorable, the disrespectful, foolishness and so forth.
Right.
So I want my children to grow up to be these healthy, vibrant, contributing sources of wisdom in the world. So I can't just let that just kind of sort of happen.
No, it's not automatic. You actually have to be engaged and be pointing your kids in that direction.
Right.
And there's no guarantee they're going to go that way.
No, there's not.
If I'm pointing you in the right direction.
Right. And so I think this is where begin very practical. Setting certain expectations for the day, the week, and so forth.
Yes.
So kids get home from school. First thing they get their snack. After a snack, they get to do their homework. After doing their homework, they got to go outside and play. Then they got to do some chores. Then it's time to eat dinner, and then it's time to take a shower, right?
Yeah,
and they don't want to do all that stuff. They don't want to do their homework, right? No. Sometimes they don't want to go outside and play. They just want to be on a device, right? And they would play on a device or a computer game 24/7. Listen, we wouldn't see them for years, right?
Right.
For me and my wife, we decided early on, and this is what we have continued to do. We get those kids to bed, all of them, at 8 p.m. Now, it's not only, they need their sleep, okay? Right. When they're growing. It helps the morning because the more sleep they get, the easier it is for them to get up in the morning and say, you know what, that's making life easier for me.
Absolutely.
All right. Here's one other thing. We're talking about the home. The home is just not my parenting. The home is also me and my wife.
Exactly.
I want to get those kids to bed so that me and my wife can actually sit on the couch and talk or just sit there or watch a TV show. So all of it, I have found that a lot of parents, once they have children, their children are controlling everything. The children are leading the schedule, what may or may not happen. And I'm like, no. They're invaders in my home, right? They're going to conform to my rules,
that's right,
my standard. They have to conform to me, not the other way around.
And I think it is a struggle. And I do see this often in parenting, where parents really struggle to get that balance or to have that. And yeah, we put our kids down at 8:30. A little bit later than yours, but there was always the goal. And the thing I remember just coming home tired and so just wanting to just sit in that recliner, turn on the TV, and do nothing. Yeah. But I also knew that there was a very limited window that I was going to be the for dad time.
Right.
And my kids, especially when they were young, were very excited to see me. And for those of you who have kids that are excited to see you, enjoy it. It doesn't last. And so when I would come home as tired as I was, I knew at 8:30 they were going to bed and I could unwind.
Yeah. And
so from about 5:30 to 8:30, there was that 3-hour window where I could be their dad, and I would spend that time with them. Knowing, and everyone knew it, at 8:30 is bedtime. We started putting them down at 8, and by 8:30 they were in bed.
I tell you, you cannot overestimate the value of routine.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, there's a rhythm to life, and that's good.
Yes.
Like the universe operates this way, right?
Right.
I mean, don't we know that the Earth rotates, and then one time around that's one day, and the Earth goes around the sun, that's 365 days.
Right.
Like, the rhythms of life are a good thing, and they're healthy.
Well, the kids understand it then. They know there's that routine.
Right.
I know that they knew at 8 o'clock we start winding down, take baths, get ready for bed. At 8:30, lights out. And
To me, it's a matter of discipline. I want my children to be able to say no to bad things, to say good to good things, to know to make wise decisions. Well, if I'm not even helping them to structure their day, right? That no, you can't eat junk food all day, for instance, or you can't watch TV all day.
Right.
How could I ever expect them to be honorable, respectful, mature, decent adults and so forth? So, like, one thing that I've said often is that we have to choose our sacrifice.
Yes.
So we'll use eating as a good example. So, like, you have the 5-year-old at the dinner table. They don't want to be at the dinner table because they want to go play. But you know what? There's good to have a structured family sit-down time. And then there's vegetables on the menu, and they don't want to eat the vegetables. And so they throw a tantrum because they just want a grilled cheese sandwich. So in that moment, the parent has to make a decision about what you're going to sacrifice. So most parents, dare I overgeneralize, right, and judge everyone, most of us are super tempted to give in the moment because I've had a tough day. I'm tired. I don't want to hear the whining or complaining. Fine, don't eat the broccoli. I'll make you a grilled cheese sandwich. Just give me my peace.
Right.
What we've done in that moment is that we've trained that child that it's okay to disobey, that they can get whatever they want to so long as they make life miserable for someone else.
That's exactly right.
Okay. So in maybe what I need to do is sacrifice my peace of mind for 10, 15 minutes and dig my heels in, right? And teach them discipline. Because if I don't do it then, what's going to come back 5, 10, 15 years later is that sacrifice then is a lot worse.
Right.
So choose your sacrifice. Am I going to choose to sacrifice 5, 10 minutes of strong, disciplined parenting? Or is that 15-year-old or 18-year-old later, I'm going to be wishing I had done that work before.
And we asked the question in our home, is this a hill worth dying on? And we figured there are some things that are worth standing our ground on and fighting for.
Right.
I tried, I tried to say yes to my kids as often as possible. I found myself about halfway through this parenting thing, I was saying no all the time just because I didn't feel like doing it. But I also wanted to be a fun parent and a good parent, but I also found, Rick, that there were times when a strong no was more than required. It was necessary in order to keep the authority in the home. But all of that, to say that's all part of parenting. We have to be the parents. We have to be the authority in our home. We have to let them know that, I'm in charge. And there were times when there was definitely need for that. And part of it was, in that schedule, the kids never wanted to go to bed at time. They never want to go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Right.
And I had to say, no, I'm sorry, it's bedtime. You know that. This is the way it rolls in our house.
Right.
And so I think, having parameters, having rules, having a schedule, not only does it help the kids in growing up, it prepares them for life.
Right.
Because eventually they're going to get a job, and that job's going to have times that they're going to have to be at work. And unfortunately, these days you can't find a lot of people that want to get the job and get to work on time. And if you train them,
that's a lot of adults who weren't trained to be adults when they were younger.
Exactly. You train them while they're young, and they'll be ready for adulthood.
As you know, and if you're watching, you probably know, parenting is the most difficult job on planet Earth. It really is. We want to do it well. We want to help you as much as it depends on us with whatever advice we can give for you to parent well yourself. We know it's challenging. All we're simply saying is that some kind of regular routine, a schedule, you may need to write it out, talk about it with your spouse, even bring your kids into the schedule. Let them speak into it and explain it to them, because we're not saying being totalitarians and thou shalt obey your parents. It's like, no, okay, kids, here's what we're going to do. Here's why this is important, and reinforcing, sharing, explaining, teaching, guiding. And that, we're really talking about shepherding a heart. Right. So that they would grow up to be decent adults, and we would hope that decent adults who follow Jesus.
Absolutely.
And so if you need any additional help, any additional assistance or questions regarding parenting or even time management, please reach out to us, the churches at Angier Hope. We would love to come alongside you. We invite you, if you're not part of one of the local churches, to come and check out our churches and come be part of a community of parents who are trying to figure it out, and we're helping each other out. So we hope this was helpful. See you soon.